Brendan Haywood on a 3-game night in the NBA playoffs, and you have promised to play nice tonight or not? Is it going to get chippy out here?
Hey, listen, this is the guy that fouled the most in the NBA.
Brendan, you have your nerve, dude.
You are the biggest hack in the league.
Brendan, we've been on here 5 seconds, man. You talking about summer pickup basketball. Hey, honestly, this is one of my favorite players in the league. I never got to play with Brendan, but just every time we played, it was just fun, energy, trash talk, man, and this guy loves to compete, man.
Yeah, man, we're going to keep that trash talk going tonight.
We got the Blue Bloods in the house, UCLA and North Carolina. We're going to have a really good time all night long with you. Now, to the task at hand here, how does a coaching change like this, mid-series, impact them as they try to get Game 3 and climb back into this series? How do players process this type of thing?
Well, this San Antonio has always been a well-oiled machine, and you expect the team and those guys to rally around the morning of Greg Popovich's wife. And, we've been there before. The best thing you can do is get on the court, fight through adversity, and I think San Antonio could even sneak out a game here.
Well, with a lot of other teams, I might be worried. You might have some guys that come off the bench and try to play outside of their role because the head coach isn't there. Say, hey, this is my night. Pop's not here. I'm going to take 20, 25 shots. But in San Antonio, like you said, it's a well-oiled machine.
Yep.
They have the Spurs way. Everybody still knows they're going to play within themselves, play their roles, and do their job. The biggest thing that San Antonio does consistently is get guys to buy into their roles.
Yep.
And that's why they're going to do that tonight. They'll still be okay. I think they're going to come out with great energy. I think this will be the toughest game for Golden State.
9:30 tonight on TNT, and it is always rocking and extremely loud at the AT&T Center. That will be the exact same situation here tonight. Now, members of the Spurs met the media following shoot-around earlier today.
It's going to be very difficult, to play basketball today, but have to do it. But for me, it's very emotional. She was a great lady, and always saw them like dad and a mom. Everybody knows that because I arrived at 19, and so it was very, very emotional yesterday.
When the time comes to play, I'm pretty sure we're going to go out there and compete and respect what he always praises and always tries to communicate about fire, about determination, competing. But not having him with us, not having him here today, is hard.
I spoke to Pop this morning. He's overwhelmed by the support, as you'd expect from Pop. He wants our focus to be about the game today. We'll miss Aaron a lot, and the focus of our team will be on supporting Pop. But we got basketball to get back to.
Very emotional in San Antonio. And again, our thoughts and prayers go out to Greg, the entire Spurs family, and we're all mourning the loss of Aaron. And now we welcome Hall of Famer David Aldridge live from San Antonio in DA, as we just heard from Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, and R.C. Buford. Obviously, this team is overcome with emotion right now.
No doubt. No doubt, Rick. It's a very difficult time for everybody here. This is a very close organization, on and off the floor. Players not only, play here, but many of them stay here and make their homes here and live here in the off season, spend a lot of time here. It's part of what they call the Spurs way here. So Aaron Popovich was a big part of that. She was a very private individual, so she was not out very much in the public eye, but she was very much part of the Spurs group. As Tony Parker mentioned, he was at Pop's house last night and spent time with him and felt very strongly about her and what she meant to the organization. So it's going to be very difficult for them to try and concentrate on basketball tonight, but they will try because that's what their coaches asked them to do.
And speaking of coaches, D.A., Coach Messina may not be a household name to NBA fans, but he is certainly a household name to basketball fans in Europe. This is a very accomplished coach who will be coaching in Pop's place tonight.
Yeah, look, he's one of the best coaches in the world. That's why he's here. He has been a champion at so many different places, CSKA Moscow, and Real Madrid, he's been a very, very dynamic coach that's thought of very highly around the world. So from an X's and O's standpoint, there's not going to be any drop-off whatsoever. I mean, he's a very, very brilliant mind that a lot of teams in the NBA have been trying to get for a number of years, but he wanted to come to San Antonio and learn the NBA, amongst what is generally considered the best organization in the league. And, he's been here since 2014. He'll be fine. It's a very difficult position for him to be in tonight, but he has coached this team before on occasions where Greg Popovich has been out for whatever reason, and he'll coach fine tonight.
DA, can't thank you enough for the time. We will be watching tonight on TNT. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
David Aldridge from San Antonio. Let's shift gears now and talk about the early game on TNT, 7 Eastern. Sixers at Heat in Miami. We just told you that Joel Embiid has been upgraded to probable. Let's now hear from his head coach, Brett Brown.
Brett, what does it mean as far as Joel being upgraded to probable and his status for tonight, please?
Just that it's trending in a positive way. We like what we have seen over the past few days. We like what we saw at shoot-around today. There needed to be league approval of a mask, and the design of that and the sophisticated process that goes in with shaping that to his face and all of the things that go into caring for his health. And so that's moving forward in a positive way as well. And so with that in mind, he goes to the probable status.
What is the mask that he's going to wear actually?
It's going to be a surprise.
Brett, I'm assuming that an upgrade to probable means that he has been cleared for play medically. When did that happen?
I don't know exactly when it happened. What I do know is that if the warm-up and the continued sort of collaborative discussion that we're all having together moves in the direction that it has been moving, we hope that he plays tonight.
And if he plays, will he start?
Most definitely.
Okay, finally, an answer from Coach Brown. Just kidding. In terms of, he doesn't exactly know. It's probable, can't definitively say, but if he plays, he will start. Brendan and then Ryan, how much of an influence was the tweet by Joel Embiid about, I'm tired of being babied? How much of that tweet goes into him maybe returning tonight?
I hope that tweet didn't have anything to do with him returning tonight, because it's all about his health. It's all about long term. And teams have a responsibility to sometimes protect the player from themselves. Too many times as players, we want to go back out there. We want to play when we're not ready. I'm hoping he's ready, but I hope that tweet had nothing to do with the situation. The orbital bone is serious. It controls a lot of different functions with your vision as well as your balance. So you don't want to throw yourself off and be out there when you're not ready. I'm sure Philly's staff is top notch. They put him out there not because of that tweet, not because Joel was speaking out in the media, but because they think he's ready, he's able to help the team right now.
And in terms of that tweet, I see that, you've been there before. You're getting mixed signals from the organization. The doctors are saying, let's be careful. The coaches are saying, we need you now. And you're looking at your team essentially struggling game 2. And, Brendan, you know this. For a young team, this could be an elimination game. This might be a loss that they don't bounce back from. So he knows the importance, and he's ready to get on the floor. I expect him to play unless there's something seriously wrong or they still got to have a few minor adjustments to that mask.
So with Joel Embiid this year, 41 and 22, without 11 and 8, and obviously he's a magnificent player, so those stats shouldn't surprise anybody. If he plays, Brendan, what are your expectations for Embiid tonight?
If he plays, I think he's going to be fantastic. We've seen him come back from injuries before and play very, very well. We've seen him come right into the league without a training camp and dominate other centers that had bigger names at that time than he did. So if he plays tonight, I expect him to dominate. I expect him to go out there and be the same Joel Embiid that we've seen in the past, because it's not like he has a lower body injury, Rick. It's not like he's coming back from a knee or a hip or something like that. This is an orbital bone fracture. So as long as that bone is healed and he has equilibrium back and there's nothing wrong with the eye, he'll be just fine.
Yeah, and what doesn't scare me about Embiid is that he's willing to hustle. He's willing to dive on the floor. He'll get the ball and play make and share the sugar. So it's not dependent on his shooting or his scoring. You know, he can find his way into the game with a much different element. And most of all, Brendan, you notice he brings a swagger to that team that they, I mean, they put them on a whole different level.
And they come off a Game 2 loss, so they need him that much more in this game. But again, it's all about his safety and his health, and if he's been upgraded. And by the way, the Sixers for years have been super cautious with players.
Yes.
They just don't rush players back. So we hope Embiid is in full effect tonight on TNT. Coming up, Drew Holiday and the Pelicans have a 2-0 lead, and they return home for Game 3 tonight on NBA TV. So we will talk about that. And later, we will break down how Klay Thompson and the Dubs have built a 2-0 lead on the Spurs with